What would you do if your stepdaughter stole from you and your husband did nothing? I thought I was marrying a man. Turns out I was marrying his daughter too, and she hated me from the moment I walked through the door. I met Benjamin at a mutual friend's barbecue. He was standing by the grill, flipping burgers, laughing at something someone said. He had this warmth about him, this easy confidence that made you want to be near him. I remember thinking, that's the kind of man I could see myself with. We talked for hours that night. He told me about his job, his hobbies, his love for hiking, which I'd always wanted to try. And then he mentioned his daughter. I have a 15-year-old, he said, almost apologetically. Her name is Maya. She lives with her mom mostly, but she stays with me on weekends and holidays. I smiled. That's great. I love kids. You say that now, he laughed. Wait until she asks for her third iPhone in 1 year. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. We dated for 6 months before I met Maya. Benjamin was nervous. She can be a lot, he warned. Her mom spoils her. I try to balance it out, but I feel guilty. Her mom and I divorced when she was 8. I haven't been around as much as I should have. So when she wants things, it's hard for me to say no. I told him I understood. I really did. I came from a broken home myself. I knew what it was like to feel like you were competing for a parent's attention. My own stepmother had never accepted me, and I'd spent years trying to earn her approval. I didn't want Maya to feel that way. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be the kind of stepmother who made things better, not worse. The first time I met Maya, I showed up with a gift, a nice journal. Nothing too personal, just something to break the ice. I'd spent an hour picking it out, wanting to get something that felt thoughtful without being overbearing. She took it, looked at it, and said, "I don't write." Then she put it on the counter and walked away. Benjamin laughed it off. "She's shy," he said. I didn't think she was shy. I thought she was rude. But I was trying to make a good impression, so I let it go. Over the next few months, the pattern became clear. Maya demanded things. Benjamin gave them to her. I watched the dynamic unfold and felt a knot form in my stomach. It was like watching a slow-motion train wreck, and I was powerless to stop it. She wanted a new phone. She got it. She wanted designer clothes. She got them. She wanted a car for her 16th birthday. Benjamin and her mom split the cost. Every demand was met with compliance. Every tantrum was rewarded. Every time I tried to gently suggest that maybe she needed boundaries, Benjamin would say, "She's just a kid. She'll grow out of it." I wanted to believe him. So I did. I ignored the warning signs because I loved him. I convinced myself that I could handle it, that once we were married, things would change, that she would eventually accept me. I told myself that every blended family goes through growing pains, that this was normal, that I was just being too sensitive. I was so wrong. Benjamin proposed on the 2-year anniversary of our first date. We were hiking the same trail we'd walked on our very first hike together. He got down on one knee at the summit, the sun setting behind him, and asked me to be his wife. I cried. Of course I cried. I said yes before he even finished the question. The wedding was small, intimate, just family and close friends. Maya was there, of course. She was 17 by then. She wore a dress that probably cost more than my entire outfit. She smiled for the photos. She made small talk with the guests. On the surface, everything was perfect, but I saw the looks she gave me. The rolled eyes when I wasn't looking. The way she leaned over to her cousin and whispered something that made them both giggle while staring at me. I saw the way she deliberately stood on the other side of every group photo, making sure she was as far from me as possible. I told myself I was being paranoid. I told myself I was overthinking. I told myself that every bride feels like people are judging them on their wedding day. Then we moved in together. From the day I moved into Benjamin's house, Maya made it clear she didn't want me there. It was small things at first. My belongings would be moved. My favorite mug would be in the sink unwashed for days. Little things that could be dismissed as carelessness. I'd find my books on the wrong shelf. My toiletries would be knocked over in the bathroom. Nothing dramatic enough to confront her about, but enough to make me feel unwelcome. But then it escalated. If I made dinner, she would refuse to eat it. She'd order takeout or microwave something, making a show of how much she preferred her own food over mine. She'd make comments about how she wished her dad would cook instead because he actually knows what he's doing. If I tried to clean, she'd make a mess. If I asked her to pick up after herself, she'd ignore me. If I mentioned it to Benjamin, he'd say, "I'll talk to her." But he never did. Or if he did, nothing changed. I remember the first time I really confronted her. It was about 2 months after we got married. Maya was 17 and a half, driving her car, staying out late, doing whatever she wanted. She'd been out with friends, came home at 1 a.m., and slammed the front door loud enough to wake the neighbors. I was in the kitchen the next morning making coffee. She walked in, still in her pajamas, hair messy, and started rummaging through the fridge. "Good morning?" I said. She didn't respond. I said good morning. She looked at me like I was an inconvenience. "Good morning," she muttered. "We need to talk about last night. You came in really late. It's none of your business." "Excuse me? You're not my mom. You're not even close. You're just some woman my dad married. You don't get to tell me what to do." I took a deep breath. "I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm asking for basic respect. I don't owe you anything." She grabbed a yogurt from the fridge and walked out. I stood there, coffee in hand, feeling like I'd been slapped. That was the moment I realized the woman who kept him in her grip, his daughter, would never accept me. And worse, Benjamin would never stop making excuses for her. Years passed. Maya graduated high school. Then she did nothing. No college applications. No job applications. No plans at all. "Maya's taking a gap year," Benjamin explained when I asked. Lots of kids do it. A gap year doing what? Finding herself. I bit my tongue. I wanted to say, finding herself in front of the TV? Finding herself at the mall with her friends? Finding herself sleeping until noon every day? But I didn't, because I loved Benjamin, and I didn't want to fight. The gap year turned into 2 years. 2 years turned into 3. She turned 20. Then 21. Then 22. Still no job. Still no college. Still living rent-free. Still demanding things, and the things she demanded kept getting more expensive. She needed a new phone. She needed a new laptop. She needed money for a trip with her friends. She needed money for essentials that were never essential. I watched Benjamin work overtime. I watched him come home exhausted. I watched him skip meals to save money. And then I watched him hand over hundreds of dollars to Maya for things she didn't need. I tried to talk to him about it. Benjamin, we can't keep doing this. We're not a bank. She's an adult now. She's young, he'd say. She's figuring things out. She's 22, Benjamin. She's not young. She's an adult. She'll get there. Just give her time. But time was the one thing I was running out of. I started keeping a mental tally of everything I was sacrificing for her. The vacations we never took because we couldn't afford them. The date nights we skipped because we were too tired from working extra shifts. The nice things I used to buy for myself that I now skipped because every dollar felt like it was going to Maya. I started to resent her. And worse, I started to resent him. It was a Saturday morning. I was getting ready to run errands when Maya approached me. I need $120, she said. No greeting, no please. Just a demand. What for? The salon. I need my hair done. Your hair looks fine. It's not fine. It's horrible. All my friends are getting theirs done. I can't give you that money. Why not? Because I don't have it. And even if I did, I wouldn't give it to you. Her face twisted. You're so selfish. I'm selfish. Maya, I pay for your food. I pay for the utilities you use. I buy the toiletries you leave everywhere. I'm not selfish. I'm setting a boundary. She stormed off. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Later that day, I went to pay for groceries and my wallet was lighter. I counted twice. The 120 was gone, the exact amount she'd asked for. I felt sick to my stomach. I replayed the morning in my head. She'd walked past me in the hallway. She'd brushed against my bag. She'd been in the bedroom while I was in the shower. I knew she'd done it. I just knew. I confronted her that evening. Did you take money from my wallet? She didn't flinch. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the $120 that's missing from my wallet. The same amount you asked me for this morning. She laughed. That's crazy. I didn't take anything. Maybe you misplaced it. I didn't misplace it. You went through my things and stole from me. Prove it. I couldn't, but I knew the truth, and she knew I knew. I told Benjamin that night. I expected him to be angry. I expected him to confront her. I expected something. Instead, he went silent. He didn't say anything. Didn't confront her. Didn't even look upset. He just stared at the wall with this blank expression on his face. Benjamin, I said, did you hear me? Your daughter stole from me. He rubbed his forehead. I'll talk to her. You've said that 100 times. Nothing ever changes. She stole from me, Benjamin. She went into my wallet and took money without permission. I know. I'll handle it. But he never did. He never even brought it up to her. That was the moment I realized nothing would ever change. She would always get away with everything, and I would always be the bad guy for asking for basic decency. A week after the hair salon incident, I gave Benjamin an ultimatum. Either she leaves this house, or we're getting a divorce. He stared at me like I'd slapped him. What? Benjamin, she's 22 years old. She's an adult. She doesn't work. She doesn't pay rent. She doesn't contribute. And she stole from me. I can't live like this anymore. She's young. She's 22. And she's my daughter. I can't just kick her out. You can. You just won't. He looked down at the table. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I felt the words hit me like a physical blow. He was choosing her. He had always chosen her. He would always choose her. He got up from the table and left the room. I sat there alone, the silence deafening. I loved him. I truly loved him. But I couldn't live like this anymore. I didn't know what to do. I needed to talk to him again. I needed to make him understand. But every time I brought it up, he got defensive. He would say she needed time, that she was struggling, that we had to be patient. Meanwhile, Maya found out about the ultimatum. She made my life a living nightmare. She slammed doors. She made snide comments. She went out of her way to make me miserable. She'd walk past me and mutter things under her breath. She'd leave her dirty dishes on the counter with a note that said, "For the maid." She'd play loud music at all hours, even when Benjamin was trying to sleep, and Benjamin did nothing. He just let it all happen. It happened on a Wednesday. I was exhausted from work. All I wanted was a quiet evening. Instead, I came home to loud music blaring from the living room. Maya was on the couch, surrounded by snacks, scrolling on her phone. "Can you turn that down?" I asked. She didn't respond. Didn't even acknowledge me. I tried again, my voice shaking with exhaustion. "Maya, can you please turn the music down?" She looked up, smirked, and said, "I didn't hear you." She made a show of grabbing the remote and lowering the volume by a single notch. "Thank you." I went to the kitchen to make dinner and found dirty dishes piled high in the sink, crumbs and stains all over the counter. There was sauce splattered on the stove, a half-empty soda can on the counter. The garbage was overflowing. "Maya," I called, "why didn't you clean up?" "I was going to do it later. You said that yesterday. And the day before. I asked you this morning to clean up before I got home. If you weren't so uptight all the time, things would be easier around here." I snapped. snapped. This isn't about being uptight. This is about basic respect. You're an adult, Maya. You need to act like one. I'm not your maid. I'm not your servant. And I'm not your punching bag. She stood up, pointing her finger at me. You think you're so perfect? You're controlling. You're manipulative. And maybe that's why Dad doesn't really love you. I froze. What? She smiled. It was a cold, cruel smile. If he really loved you, he would have chosen you over me when you gave him that ultimatum. But he didn't. I truly have his love. You never did. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I just stood there staring at her, feeling like she'd reached into my chest and ripped out my heart. I walked away, went to my room, and locked the door. I sat on the bed and stared at the wall. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I was too numb. When Benjamin came home, he found me sitting on the bed. The divorce papers were in my hands. I want a divorce, I said. He looked at the papers. Then he looked at me. His eyes were wide, glassy. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the reality of this marriage. I can't do this anymore. I've been fighting for us for years and I'm exhausted. I'm done. Let's talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. I've given you so many chances. Nothing ever changes. Her disrespect is a daily punishment, and today was my breaking point. She told me you don't really love me. She said if you did, you would have chosen me over her. He reached for me. I pulled away. Please, he said. Please, I'll do anything. I'll choose you. I'll tell her to leave. Don't say that if you don't mean it. I mean it. I swear I mean it. He went to find her. I heard them yelling in the other room. I heard her crying. I heard him raising his voice, something I'd never heard him do before. A few minutes later, he came back, his face pale. She said she has nowhere to go, he whispered. Then she'll need to figure it out. I gave her a week. I told her she has 1 week to find a new place. After that, she has to leave. He was in tears. I was in tears. I knew I was hurting him, but I was hurting too. And I couldn't keep sacrificing myself for a daughter who would never accept me. The next 7 days were the longest of my life. Maya was furious. She slammed doors. She gave me the silent treatment. She would pass by me like I was a ghost. She refused to eat at the same table as me. She refused to even look at me. Benjamin was distant. He didn't know how to handle the situation. He'd been caught between two women he loved, and he couldn't save both. I could see the stress on his face. He wasn't sleeping. He wasn't eating. He was just going through the motions. On the 7th day, Benjamin told me he hadn't been able to find a place for Maya. She won't go, he said. Why? She says she won't be disowned. She says I'm an awful father. She says she'll never forgive me. I felt numb. So what happens now? He didn't answer. He just stared at the floor. That evening, I packed my bags. I booked a hotel room and told Benjamin I needed space. And I made him a promise. If Maya was still in that house when I came back, I was done for good. I don't want to lose you, Benjamin said. Then show me. I returned home after 2 nights away. Maya was gone. Benjamin had bought her a plane ticket to stay with her mother. He was trying to protect her, but he also knew I was serious. At first, it felt like a victory, but then the rumors started. I heard from a family friend that Maya had spread a vicious lie about me. She was telling people that I had been cheating on Benjamin with a coworker. I confronted Benjamin about it. He was shocked. He pulled out his phone and showed me his messages. I saw his text to that woman, though, and they seemed too friendly for my liking. Who is this? I asked. It's just a coworker. We're friends, but it's nothing more. Maya has spread rumors about an affair. There's nothing there. She's just trying to tear us apart. I didn't believe him, but what could I do? I had no proof, just suspicions. And Maya was so good at manipulation that I couldn't trust anything. It was then that I realized Maya's goal. She was trying to destroy my marriage. She was trying to turn everyone against me. And if I stayed, she would keep creating chaos. The final straw came a few weeks later. I was walking outside to my mailbox when I saw my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson. She was an older woman who'd always been kind to me. She would wave, bring me baked goods, and ask about my day. That morning, when I waved, she just stared. She quickly retreated inside. The same thing happened the next day, and the next. Finally, I went over to her house. She opened the door looking disappointed. I asked why she was so distant. She told me she'd heard about what I'd done. What do you mean? I asked. She lowered her voice. I heard about you stealing money orders. What? From who? Your stepdaughter? She told me you'd been stealing money orders from the neighbors, that you were taking mail out of people's mailboxes. A lot of people are talking. I stood there in shock. I explained the truth. I told her about Maya's manipulation and her refusal to grow up. I told her how Maya had stolen from me and this was her revenge. She looked like she half believed me. I was humiliated. This girl had tried to destroy my reputation. She'd turned the whole neighborhood against me. I went home and told Benjamin. It's over, I said. She's gone too far. Let me talk to her. A few years later, I heard a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. It was Maya. She looked different. She looked broken. She told me she'd gotten into debt and had fallen in with the wrong crowd. She asked if I could help her. I should have told her no. But when I looked at her, I saw a girl who'd been broken by her own selfishness. I decided to give her one more chance. I told her I'd help her. But on my terms, she had to find a job. She had to pay me back. She had to prove she'd changed. She agreed. I helped her get back on her feet. Slowly, she started taking responsibility for her life. She found a job. She started paying her bills. She even enrolled in community college. We'll never be close. Too much has happened, but we've made peace. I never thought I'd end up here. thought I'd be married forever. I thought I'd be happy, but sometimes things don't go the way you plan. The experience broke me, and then it rebuilt me. I learned my worth. I learned to set boundaries. I learned to walk away. I'm stronger now, and I've finally learned to put myself first. I might always love Benjamin, but I'll never be with him again. That part of my story is over. Now it's time to live the rest of mine. The end. She's spreading rumors. She's accusing me of theft. She's ruining my life. I'm done. I'm going to see a lawyer and talk about next steps. The divorce is going through, Benjamin cried. He begged me to stay, but this time I didn't listen. I just left. The divorce was finalized months later. I moved out. Benjamin and Maya stayed, and I moved on. The first few weeks were the hardest. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I'd go to work and pretend I was fine. Then I'd go home and break down. But slowly, I started healing. I found a small apartment on the other side of town. I bought a plant, a rug, little things to make it my own. Every evening, I'd make a cup of tea and sit on my tiny balcony, watching the sunset. I made new friends, reconnected with old ones, and for the first time in years, I felt free. Benjamin tried to reach out. He apologized for everything. He admitted he'd been wrong to enable Maya, but I told him it was too late. I had to focus on myself. He told me he was trying to change things with Maya, that she was finally starting to take responsibility for her life. I said I was glad to hear that, and I meant it. I don't hate Benjamin. I still love him, but I love myself more.